Okay, my Nerdy-Nawg-Dawgs. Today in class, we learned about multiplying a mixed number and a fraction. So all we're doing here is putting some of the operations we already know together, right? What is our rule for multiplying fractions? Well, numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator, and then of course simplify. So this kind of puts a kink in things, right? 5½ times 2/3. Well, there's two ways in which we can solve for this. We know that this is the multiplier, right? This is the guy doing all the work. He's going to multiply himself times 5½. So we can decompose this mixed number and we can do it that way. So we can say, well, 5 times 2/3. So that means I'm doing the 5 whole number times the 2/3. And then I can also do the 1/2 times 2/3. And what I will need to do then is add those two sums together, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. This is all stuff we know already, right? To multiply a whole number, what do I need to do? You got it, my friend. Shazam! Make it a fraction. We know that putting a whole number over a 1 will always keep the integrity of the whole number because we know also our fraction bar, the holy grail of fractions, means divide. So what is 5 divided by 1? It'll always be 5. So that keeps it a whole number. So really quick review, right? Now we can multiply as normal because I have a numerator and times a numerator, which would give me 10, over a denominator times denominator would give me 3. So I know right off the bat, I can't leave that as my final answer. That's an improper fraction. I'm not going to be able to add those together. But let's go ahead and solve this second one, and then we'll talk about adding our totals. Now I have numerator times numerator gives me 2 over denominator times denominator gives me 6. So now I have 10/3 plus 2/6. And I already know I need to convert that 10/3 into a mixed number because it's improper. We never leave improper as our final answer. Never, ever, ever, Nerdy-Nawg-Dawgs, right? So how many times? Again, fraction bar actually means divide. This is the same as saying 10 divided by 3. So then my question is, how many times does 3 fit into 10? Well, it goes in 3 times. What's left over? The fractional unit would be 1 left over out of 3. And then I can add my 2/6. So I've taken care of this guy. Now I'm adding this guy. So I then automatically see that 3 and 6 have something in common. If I follow my fraction rules, I cannot add unlike fractions. I know I can make a third into a sixth, so I'm going to do that. What does it take for a third to become a sixth? Well, I have to multiply by 2. And so that means I multiply my numerator by 2 to make an equivalent fraction. And I end up with 2/6 plus 2/6. Okay, now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. And I keep my whole number of 3 that I'm going to add in the mix. So I should see that I have 3 and 2/6 plus 3 and 2/6. And some of that math I can do in my head. And that would give me 3 and 4/6, which I cannot leave as my final answer. Why, people? Because it can be simplified. Even number, top and bottom, means it can be simplified further. And I can divide both top and bottom by 2, which would give me 3 and 2/3 as my final answer. Are you still breathing? Oh. So that is not the most efficient way, but it kind of explains what's happening. Would you like to see a more efficient way to solve? Yes. So if that's too complicated, too many steps, that includes all of our fraction operations, right there in one problem. There is a more efficient way. And with math, we're always looking for math tricks and ways to make things more efficient. So what is the most efficient way to multiply a mixed number and a fraction? To to convert the mixed number into an improper fraction, because multiplication of fractions is the easiest of all fraction operations. And we already know how to do this. So come on, Nerdy-Nawg-Dawgs, what do? We multiply the whole number by the fractional denominator. So 2 times 5 gives us 10. We add in the remaining fractional bit of 1, and that gives us 11 over 2 times 2/3. Wait till you see how much more effective this is, or efficient is the correct word to call that. So now I can go ahead, and it doesn't matter if it's an improper fraction. With multiplication, I just multiply. Numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. So now I have 22/6. That's improper. We cannot leave it as an improper fraction. So what do? Well, 22 divided by 6 is the same as asking how many times will 6 fit into 22. It'll fit in 3 times. That would give us 18. And the difference between 18 and 22 is 4/6. I know I can't leave that as my final answer. I have to reduce. And 4 and 6 can both be divided by 2. So my final answer would be 3 2/3. Just like we came up when we decomposed. However, the most efficient path to multiplying mixed numbers and fractional units is to convert the mixed number into an improper fraction. It'll save you some time, Nerdy-Nawg-Dawgs. Have fun.